Good morning. Hello. I don't know how good my connection will be. In the area in which I'm heading, so you all come in, show some digital love and some hearts, and let me know if I'm connected well. I really thought several times before making this video because I thought that it may be too advanced. Good morning, Mr. Brown. Good morning. You all come in, do your do nows, drop your city and state, and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube, Facebook. Like and share this video. But I'm going to discuss this in as simple as I can, or simple terms as I can, because people always like to take snippets and pieces, and I think my connection is going low again. But people always like to take snippets and pieces of information and free information rather, and try to put it together for themselves. And then when the outcome doesn't work, or they get a response that they don't know how to respond to as it comes to or relate to debt collectors, or collection debt, any type of collection debt, medical, any type of debt collection, then they don't know what's the next plan of action, or they don't know what's the next move to make, right, in this chess game of credit and cash flow. And so does debt validation really works, right? Does debt validation really works to discharge debt? And when I mean discharge, I'm speaking of you're not liable to pay on a debt. Now, the first, thank you so much for the digital love. I see it now. I guess I'm back in. The first thing I want you to ask yourself is, because a lot of people may refer to me as a conspiracy theorist, but if you really look at conspiracy theorists, it's just a strategist. It's just a strategy, or it's just asking yourself thought-provoking questions, right? And a lot of times, a lot of people call it common sense, but it's not. If it's not common knowledge, then it can't be common sense. So ask yourself this thought-provoking question. If an account is sold, S-O-L-D, sold to someone else, if an account for services that I have received, whether it be medical, whether it be live stream, cable, internet, credit card services, whatever, if it's sold, S-O-L-D, to someone else, number one, if something is sold, that means the transfer of debt or balance has been transferred to someone else for their responsibility, right? That's number one. So if something is sold, how or why do you still owe for it? Or would you be liable for it? It was already purchased by someone else. The price has been paid, right? Number two, because this debt is sold, or this balance or account is sold, what gives the company that purchased the account the constitutional right to now tell you that you owe them, right? I want you to ask yourself these thought-provoking questions. Thank you for the digital love. If someone buys something that you are liable for, in the Bible they would call it Jubilee. Jubilee is when your debts are sold and you're not liable. Somebody or some company has taken over your debt. Now how do I constitutionally owe you when you have not provided any goods or any services to me? And so what happens is a lot of people some people Google debt validation and validation of debt, and they try to send these, and at least they're trying, right? At least they're being proactive. At least they're not just having the mindset, I'm going to pay this collection agency $5 a month, the bare minimum, and that way they can't take me to court. At least these people are reading the fine print of this collection letter that states that you have 30 days to ask for debt validation, right? So I do have to give them credit for that. And so what happens is, one or two things happen. They request for debt validation, and this collection company or agency or debt buyer, either one, all the same thing, they respond by sending them a printout of a bill from the company they bought your debt from. Or, number two, if you ask for validation of debt, then the debt collector or collection company will sell your debt to a law firm as a scare tactic, right? Because they say, well, once they see that it's on a letterhead from a law firm, then, they'll go away because they'll be afraid of being summoned to court. And that's the game that people get stuck at or can't get beyond, right? They don't know what to do next if that happens. Now, some debt buyers and debt collection agencies want, will continue to send you letters without sending the validation, right? The thing is, people don't know what validation is. Meaning that if you don't know that a printout or a bill from the original company that you had services from is not validation, then you don't know how to request and demand proper validation. And if you don't know how to demand proper validation or what proper validation is, then now you don't know what to do. But that's why I put the Uniform Commercial Code in this as well, the UCC Uniform Commercial Code. Now, Uniform Commercial Code is just a guideline. It's not a law. And I'm not speaking this to people who maybe is trying to use the UCC code to use their assets as collateral to borrow money. When I'm referencing the Uniform Commercial Code, your Uniform Commercial Code is just how people conduct businesses, right? In this case, as relates to credit repair, what I mean by that is if you are selling or offering goods or services, then it does not have to be a contractual agreement with a person. You don't have to verbally speak to a person on phone to have an agreement, a contraction of goods and services provided. And you don't have to even see this person, right? I work in public schools, for example. Contractual agreements can be made by purchase orders. They can be made by electronically, right, through emails. And so once you combine validation with the Uniform Commercial Code of Agreement in simple terms, meaning how was these services provided contractually? And if you can't provide me with the information that shows me how these services were conducted or exchanged contractually, then you cannot just buy my debt, right, and legally collect on it. And I hope you all catch this. And a debt cannot be created by simply booking entries into an accounting system. Meaning that when I go get a loan and I sign contractual agreement and no exchange of funds or money, and you have to know what money is to catch this, will provide it, then it's not an exchange of goods or service. So in order to say this in simple terms, or to put it in simple terms, if they cannot produce, not an itemized statement, not a printout of services provided, if they cannot produce the forms of which the agreement was produced, then you're not obligated to that debt. And it's different forms. It could be by video. It can be by physical documentation. You can sign contracts. It could be by electronic means. It can be by phone, verbal communication. Hey, okay, I'm going to sell you these shoes at $20, a pair. You purchase 100 pair, and then you owe me, $2,000, right? So under the Uniform Commercial Code, when combining it to dispute debt collectors, then you legally don't owe them anything because they have to produce that documentation. And even, for example, if a bankruptcy is reported on your credit report, right, they must produce that original documentation that you signed with your wet ink, blue signature, affirming the bankruptcy, meaning that they cannot just get, bankruptcy is public information. And so for credit agency to report it, they just cannot pull your public information and say, oh yeah, they filed bankruptcy. We found it on the internet. It's proof. That's just like asking your neighbor, hey, did they go out and get this bankruptcy, or did they go out and get this loan? Anything that's public information, they must have the proof of evidence of how this contractual agreement was made. And it's not always through a physical verification. It could be other forms, but whatever other forms they have on file, they must have it on file per your request, per your demand under the UCC Uniform Commercial Code. So I hope this helped you. It's to my coffee. Those who are my clients and getting those bankruptcy deleted from your credit report, I will have new information emailed to you this week that I need you to sign and do, because I have some more powerful methods of getting bankruptcy deleted at a quicker rate or pace. So be looking for that in your emails. Good morning, Nick. Oh, let me call the services now, seeking my cable service to be faster. So if you get an email from me, it's just some new information I have to make the bankruptcy deletion off your credit report a quicker process. So look for that. My bankruptcy clients, if you have debt collectors that's trying to collect from you illegally, reach out to me as well. Visit my website, www.fixmycreditandcash.com, and send me a message for any of those services. You all make it a great day. If I can